Hello guys, welcome to your third tutorial on how to create a website from scratch. And in the previous tutorial, I explained to you guys what a server is and why we need a server. So if you haven't watched, please check it out. So in this tutorial, I'm going to explain something really important and very cool, and that is called a sitemap. Now, whenever you are done getting your land or your address and you're thinking of building your house, what comes to your mind next? It is the plan. If you don't have a plan, you do not have a really good house in mind you want to build. So if you want to build a house just the same way as you want to build a website, you should have a plan. And that is what I call a sitemap. So a sitemap is basically just a well written down plan of how your website is going to be. So you understand, you've seen how houses are planned, how they look like, and all that. That is the same way sitemaps are approached. So your sitemap should flow well. That means that if you are writing down a sitemap, your sitemap should have a very simple flow that everyone can understand. To give you examples, first you have google.com. Let's go to google.com. When you go to google.com, you see um, this simple thing which asks users to enter in their their thing they want to search about. So Google sitemap is such that there's the first page. Okay, when you ask any question, it will move you to another page where you see the answers. So that is the basic thing the sitemap does. So the flow is that you ask your question, then you move you to a page where you see your answers. So it's the same way here. The first page is you have a place where user will input a question, and the next page is you have a place where answers are given. So that is the basic flow of google.com, and that is why your sitemap must flow well, and your sitemap must be understandable. That is, there are so many ways that Google could have approached google.com. They could have put some answers already on the main page, some important things and all that, but then they didn't do that because they want to get this thing very well understood. They want everybody to understand their website. When they go to google.com, you know that you can type the text in. Even if you've never seen a website before, you know that particular place is for asking whatever you want to ask Google. So that is why sitemaps are very important and why they should be understandable. Now, sitemaps must also be written down because you might have different ideas, different ways you're going to build a website. But then if you don't write down your sitemap, you're going to get lost, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get confused, you're going to have so many ideas in your mind how you're going to go about it. But then if you don't write it down, you won't be able to see how you are doing, to see where you're going. Sometimes you might even think about it, but then it's a very good practice to write down your sitemap, just like how I simplified Google sitemap here. And also the fourth thing is it must be simple. Okay, sitemaps should be simple. Just have websites should be simple. Google.com's billion-dollar website is one of the simplest websites you could ever find in the world. Very, very simple. No complicated things. Like, I mean, anyone can understand how google.com works. There are some websites which I go to, I don't even know where to go. So many menus, so many things on the left, on the right. Like, I mean, good websites are simple, and your sitemap should be very, very simple. Even if it takes you a day, 3 days, a week, or a month to build a very simple, a very understandable website which flows well, take that time to develop your sitemap very well. So the sitemap is just written down text. So what you need in the sitemap first is a first page. So the first page is just the first thing a user will see when they enter in your domain on any address bar. That is the first page, and you should have follow-up pages. So when you're writing down your sitemap, you should indent it so that all pages on the main indentation line are the pages. I mean, they are the first pages, and the others are just options. So Google sitemap is such that you have a first page where user will input a question, and you have another page where the answers are given. And inside the page where answers are given, there are sub things where the answers, you can have answers given from websites, and you can also have answers given from images, and you have answers given from answers. I mean, you can have so many sub things, but then it starts with the pages, the main pages, then the others come under it. That is how simple google.com is. And it's a website, and they just beat class when it comes to simpleness and understanding. So let's look at another website. But before we do, I want to give you some guidelines and also good practices when you're doing your sitemap. One, whenever you're building your sitemap, you shouldn't have your main pages. Main pages shouldn't be more than 10. That means that moves to another very important thing, which is you should only contain the objectives of the website. So whenever you're building a website, there is an objective to why you're building the website. Okay, so if you're building a sitemap, okay, the first draft of the sitemap, your pages shouldn't be more than 10. The reason why I said 10 is even too much, because some e-commerce websites could be exceptions, but then overall your pages should not be more than 10. If you really put your objectives of the website in your sitemap, your pages won't be more than 10. I'm not saying that eventually they won't be more than 10. No, they will be more than 20 or whatever. But I mean, the objectives of the websites are what should be in the sitemaps. Google's objectives are such that users will input questions and they'll get a page where the answers are given. That is why they have just 2 pages. Whatever your objectives, I don't think they will need more than 2 pages. That's why you should limit them and use that as a check. Okay, and also the last thing that you should always do when you're done with your sitemap is ask friends about the complexity and quality of your map. So when you're done writing down, maybe you spend a week thinking about how your website is going to be developed, ask a friend, ask an average website user what he or she thinks about how the flow is. Or you could also ask a website developer how the flow is, what he thinks about it, because sitemap is, if not, is the most important. I would say sitemaps are the most important thing when it comes to web development. They are even more important than knowing all the web languages, because you can know all the web languages and build a slum on the internet. You can build a poor website. You can build I don't know how to even describe it, but I mean, if you have a very good sitemap, it's just like having a very good building plan. One, you even move fast. You develop your website in a very short amount of time. But then if you have a complex and not a good building plan, it's the same way for websites. You spend too much time, you'll be confused, you make so many modifications, you'll be typing too many codes, and you'll be getting errors and bugs, and you become like frustrated, and you even stop. But then once you know what you're about, once you know what you're doing, you are always good to go. Another example of a website which I want to use here is Facebook. So when you go to facebook.com, the objectives of Facebook is to connect people all around the world. And when you go to facebook.com, the first thing is to enter your email and password. So you should know that it's very crucial in such a website. So after you enter your email and password, that means they have an input page, a login page, and you see posts from friends. So that is Facebook's 2 main things which help them in their objectives. And the last thing is, maybe you can also go to see your messages. So in Facebook, you have a first page where users will sign in, second page where I see people's posts, and a third page where people can chat with. All the other things are extra. These are the main things which make up Facebook. So up to now, you should understand that the analogy between sitemaps and building plans is the same thing. All the disadvantages which go with poor building plans go for poor sitemaps. The same thing goes for good sitemaps. You can have the best builders in the world, but then if you have a poor architecture, I mean, you won't get the quality, you won't get the flow. No one will like to visit your website, no one will like to use it. But then if you have a very good flow, first written down, spend time, there's an old saying which says spend time sharpening the axe rather than spending time cutting down the tree. So once you have your axe sharpened, the tree cutting goes very simple. That is the same way for sitemaps, and you even be very glad yourself you made a good sitemap. So in this tutorial series, we are building our own website which will allow teachers to give quizzes and students to answer quizzes. That is the objectives. Just how I said it, it should contain just the objectives of the website, and the main page should be more than 10. So I sat down to write down a very simple sitemap in a very short amount of time. Maybe it could change, but I think that we'll go with this based on the simplicity. So the first page is students will sign in, students and teachers can sign in, and the second page is students will see the subjects in the class. Another page is teachers will see the test they've added. So there are two different things. When students sign in, what they should see is the subjects in the class they are doing, and afterwards they should be able to open the test and the test by a subject, and afterwards they should be able to solve tests. And what teachers should see is they should see the test they've already added, and also teachers should be able to modify their test and add a new test. So this is the new test. So you see my main pages are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this website you're going to build. They contain the objectives. When you're building an e-commerce website, don't be led out by the complexity and by the different pace of e-commerce websites. Just put down your objectives and make sure they are done. All the other pages will fall under it. That is how it works. In the course of this tutorial, you might create more than 6 pages, but then that doesn't mean that they are the same level of importance as these pages. So that is what sitemaps are. I hope all of you understand what a sitemap is. You can see what you're going to do and how you're going to go about it. And so this is the way you're going to go. So the first page is just the page that your users will see when they visit your website for the first time. And you should follow these guidelines when you're writing a sitemap. So please subscribe so that you won't miss the next video I'm going to upload, because now we're going to get our builder. We have our architecture, we have our building plan, we have the sitemap ready. The next thing is to get the contractor who will take care of this building plan, and will give the contractor the building plan instructions to do all our things. So we are just building a house on the internet. We are building our website, our big website, which you can monetize and all that. I'll cover all that in all the other videos I'll create. So please hit on the subscribe button, and if you have any questions, please ask in the comments and I'll get back to you. All right.